My legs feel really odd right now.
Those upper body workouts are just not hitting the same. So mindset wise, I've just had to get comfortable eating more. Maybe I don't quite have as much toneness or leanness, but wow, like I can run really far. And then another thing that I wasn't expecting,
hello everyone, welcome to or back to my channel. I am so excited you're here today because today we are doing a big thing. We are running 20 kilometers. This is the farthest I've ever run. Kind of pointless for me to say that because each week my long run has now been the longest I've ever run, but this one feels just a lot bigger for some reason, probably because it's pretty close to the half marathon distance that I'm going for. For those who don't know, I'm training for my first ever half marathon. I started training back in August. I am 3 weeks out from the day, but by the time this goes live, when you guys will be seeing this, it will only be 5 days away. A little bit about my fitness history too, for those who are new. Prior to this, I didn't run at all. I was purely gym girl, weightlifting, all of that. I needed a change. I needed to challenge myself with something new and out of my comfort zone, and training for this has definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone over and over again. I feel like each week there's something that I'm doing that I just didn't think that I could ever do 6 months ago. But it's been pretty cool to watch myself kind of push through that discomfort and continuously rise to those challenges, and it's definitely built a lot of confidence in myself. I'm going to sit down and talk to you guys about some of the ways that running has changed me, ways it's changed my body, my nutrition, the way I view food and exercise. I feel like I've really undergone quite the transformation these past 3 months as I've learned how to run and just gotten deeper into this journey. But yeah, today is probably the biggest milestone that I will be hitting besides the actual race. I'm definitely a little bit nervous, which is interesting because I don't think I can't not do it. I'm realizing that that sentence didn't make a lot of sense. I think I can do it. I know that I can. I think it's just kind of that mental side of it is hitting me that I will be running for over 2 hours, which is a really long time to be running. I am prepared. I have my awesome earbuds that I've been using. These are the Shocks earbuds. And they have been such a lifesaver because anyone else who has weirdly shaped or like small ears knows when you start getting sweaty, your AirPods will just fall out. So these have been incredible. And then I also have my water bottle here and little pouch with a bunch of gels in it. So I will be taking gels during the run. I think I'm going to start taking them a little bit more proactively for this longer run. So I'll probably be doing like 30 to 40 minutes in, and then maybe another closer to an hour, and then one closer to like 90 minutes. Have those all stocked up, and I have on my favorite running shoes, my race day fit. We are as prepared as we can be. I need to stop stalling and go and like do some strides and stretching and ankle rollouts and just start going. So that is going to be the plan. I'm going to try and check in a few times during this run. Like I said, if you are interested in hearing more about just my overall journey and the ways it's changed me, both physically and mentally, I will be getting to that later in this video. So definitely stick around because it is going to be some good stuff. Let's go freaking do this. All right, we are about 1 mile in, still working on feeling warm. Trying not to think about the fact that I have 12.5 miles left. This is also my first time running on a trail for one of my long runs. For the actual race, part of it is on this trail, so I wanted to get some practice running on the trail, and it's actually a lot easier because normally I'm used to having a lot of hills, and this is just nice and flat. My arm is getting really tired, so I'm gonna put you guys down. I will check back in again in a couple miles, maybe? 2 miles in, 3 miles in, so 1/4 through, 4 miles in, 5 miles done, 6 miles done, almost halfway, 7 miles in, 8 miles done, 9 miles, 10 miles in, 2.5 to go, 11 miles, 12 miles. I'll see you at the end. Wow. My legs feel really odd right now. I feel like I'm gonna be quite sore later because right now I can't really feel anything. But we did it, guys. We did it. 20K. 12 and a half miles, almost 12 and a half miles. Not quite, I think it was like 12.4. Either way, run is done. It is now a little over 2 hours later. I think it took me 2 hours and 15 minutes. I am just kind of amazed that I ran that far. I was really trying to not think about how far I had run or how much I had left. I think it helped a lot that I was running in a completely new place, so I really didn't have any like frame of reference for how far I'd gone other than like my watch. I planned to like stop at the store on the way home and do a little bit of my grocery shopping, and that simply will not be happening. Right now I've decided to prioritize that I need to get food in me and I need electrolytes in me. So I'm gonna go home and start on that recovery. I will check in with you guys later today and just sit down and chat with you about how running has changed my body, my diet, my mindset, all of that super fun stuff. So I will see you in a little bit. It is now a few hours later, actually many hours later. I needed some time to recover and recuperate from this morning. I will not be doing much the rest of the day. I will certainly be laying low. I feel like my body is just a little bit confused, and so I'm trying to give myself a little bit of grace with the pace that I am moving today because it is not very quickly. But I did want to take the time to sit down with you guys and talk some about the changes that I have experienced in these past 3 months since starting running, in my body, in my mindset, in my approach to food and fitness. I kind of just wanted to debrief all of that because at the point that you'll be watching this, we will be less than a week out from race day. If anyone else out there is a beginner runner or is thinking about getting into running and you're just not really knowing what to expect, maybe this chat provide you some insight into what is coming. Of course, I do want to make the disclaimer that any changes that I mention in regards to my body, my physique, my diet, all of that is very individualized to me. Everyone's body is different, so some of the things that I have experienced these past 3 months may not be things that you will experience if you do start running. So please keep that in mind as I'm talking about all these things. Just because I'm saying that this thing happened doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen to you, but I do want to share my journey so that if anyone else out there is experiencing the same thing, can maybe feel like they're not so alone in it. So that's why I wanted to talk about it. Let me pull up some of my notes. I just wanted to make sure that I jotted down a few things because, as we know, I have a tendency to ramble and go on about a million tangents, and then I'm filming for like an hour and my camera battery dies. It's a whole thing. So we're really going to try to avoid that today, but at the same time, I also didn't fully script this part of the video. I did want it to feel like just a sit-down conversation with a friend, so I may not be quite as eloquent as in some of my other videos, but that is because I am kind of chatting on the fly here, so bear with me. The first topic that I wanted to cover was physical changes and body composition changes. I feel like this is one of the things that I was wondering about when I first started running. If my body was going to change, if it was going to change, how was it going to change? As someone who has really only done the gym for the past 7 or 8 years, that's been the majority of the exercise and fitness that I do, I'm pretty used to how lifting impacts my body in terms of my physique, but I really have never added running into that equation and wasn't sure if it would make a difference. So starting with things that I did expect, I feel like I am just in general less toned or lean overall than I was before I started running and was just weightlifting. This is not me saying that there is a huge difference. I think that if there is a difference, it's probably pretty minimal. That's just like my perception of myself, is I feel like I'm a little bit less toned, a little bit more lean. And this was something I was definitely expecting. Before, I was in the gym 5 days a week. I was hitting all of my muscle groups upwards of 10 sets a week. I was really on top of focusing on that hypertrophy stimulus and making the most out of that. When I started my training program, I switched to dialing back the gym to 3 sessions per week just because I couldn't maintain that same volume of weightlifting when I also started running. That's just too much energy for my body to be expending and too much physical stress for it to be under. But yes, I have been going to the gym 2 times less per week, so my muscles are just not being given that same overloading stimulus that they were when I was only weight training. There have been a couple other changes that have kind
kind of impacted my weight training, which I'll talk about later. That probably also fed into me kind of like losing some of my toned leanness when I started running. And the second thing that I was expecting, well, this one's kind of a two-parter because I was like expecting it, but also wasn't expecting part of it. I was expecting my endurance to improve. Obviously, if I was going to be running multiple times a week, over time, it would make sense that my cardiovascular system would be adapting and my endurance would be improving. What I didn't expect within that was how quickly and how much my endurance would improve. I would be huffing and puffing running 20 minutes at the beginning of this running plan, and I would not be able to run for that long, no matter the pace, without my heart rate getting up to 170 or 180 beats per minute. And now I can run for 2 hours and keep it pretty much in zone 2 that entire time. That has been something that has been really cool to see, just my body adjust and adapt. Maybe I don't quite have as much toneness or leanness, but wow, like I can run really far and my body is super capable of handling that type of cardiometabolic stress that it just wasn't before. Okay, so moving on to physical appearance and body composition changes that I didn't quite expect. I was expecting when I started this that I might have some trouble keeping on weight, or I might accidentally lose a little bit of weight. I want to preface and say that I did not start running because I was looking to lose weight, and I actually really don't recommend running as someone's primary method of losing weight if weight loss is your goal. I guess I can be a prime example of that because I haven't lost any weight since I've started running. If anything, I think I actually may have put on a few pounds. It's kind of hard for me to tell because I don't weigh myself, and I haven't weighed myself either at the beginning of my running journey or now. I don't really know what my weight is. That's just kind of my perception for how I feel in my body as someone who has gained and lost weight before. I can usually kind of tell. This was not something that I was anticipating because I was burning such a large amount of energy during these longer runs. Now that I'm thinking more critically about it though, it does actually kind of make sense. So I think there are a few different factors that could be contributing to this. I'll cover nutrition when I talk about my diet changes in a little bit. The other one that I've been thinking about is it could be due to a decrease in my NEAT, or my non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That is just a big fancy way of quantifying all of the energy that you are burning throughout the day not doing intentional exercise. Just how much you're kind of getting up and moving around, or even things like fidgeting or shaking your leg. All of those types of little movements burn energy. That is what makes up your NEAT. And that is just one part of your metabolism. There are a few other parts. I am an exercise and nutrition nerd, so if you want me to do a video on that, feel free to let me know in the comments. I think because of the running, it has made me move less throughout the day. My body's a little bit more fatigued. I've been a little bit more sore on some days. Just overall, I don't think I'm moving around quite as much as I was. When I was going to the gym 5 days a week and that was all I was doing, I was pretty good about making sure that I was getting up and moving around. I was making sure that I was hitting 8 to 10,000 steps a day. And now I definitely still hit 8 to 10,000 steps a day, or even way beyond that. But 80% of that step count is probably from my run. And then I'm really not doing a lot of moving the rest of the day. Whereas before I was doing my gym session plus those 8,000 or 10,000 steps. So I do think that it could be that even though I am burning a lot of energy during my runs, it could be offset by the fact that my NEAT has decreased, and so I'm not burning as much energy throughout the day. And then another thing that I wasn't expecting was that my legs would actually get more muscular since starting running. I kind of just assumed that my legs would lose muscle and get weaker. I also naturally pretty quickly lose weight in my legs, so I just figured that this was something that might happen when I started running, but I think my legs have actually gotten more muscular. I've never had strong muscular legs. My glutes have gotten stronger, my quads have gotten stronger. I am still progressing in my weights with my lower body movements, and it makes a lot of sense because your legs need to be strong in order to carry you those really long distances. So that was something awesome that I wasn't expecting. And then the last thing that I wasn't expecting doesn't have to do with body composition, but it is a physical change. I think that
running has exacerbated many of my pre-existing GI issues that I've kind of just lived with up until this point. But since starting running, all of these GI symptoms have gotten pretty bad to the point where I'm actually now meeting regularly with a dietitian to address some of these issues. So I guess that's the good thing. Running made them bad enough to the point where I actually am now taking a root cause approach and actually trying to do something about it. But that has definitely been an unpleasant experience in these past few months. I'm not going to dive into that in this video, but it is something that I wanted to mention as a physical change that I've experienced. Okay, so now that we've covered the physical changes in terms of my just overall appearance and health, I want to talk a little bit more about changes in my strength and performance in the gym. So I already mentioned that I had changed my training from doing 5 times a week in the gym to going down to 3 times per week. Instead of my previous split, I am hitting upper body once, I am hitting lower body once, and I am hitting a full body day that is more lower body focused. I'm still aiming for at least 8 sets per muscle group per week. The one muscle group that doesn't get this and only gets 6 is chest, simply because I'm just kind of fine neglecting chest. I will say it has been fairly disappointing to see how much weaker my bench press has gotten. I'm going to get it back one day. Overall, compound movements have been my best friend for getting the most bang for my buck. Squat, deadlift, bench press, hip thrusts. My gym has a hip thrust machine that is simultaneously amazing and also kind of torture. I use it 2 times a week and it's been incredible. Definitely trying to keep more of a focus on my lower body in particular because, again, my legs are the things that I need to carry me these long distances. So really focusing on that glute strength, particularly that adductor strength, and then strengthening all of the muscles around my hip flexors. Your hip flexors endure a lot of strain and wear running long distances. Definitely felt this morning. So making sure that I'm strengthening kind of all the muscles around there and my hip flexors themselves has been really important to make sure that my body is still operating well and feeling good and is strong enough to get me through these runs. Another change regarding the gym is that I have had to prioritize recovery a lot more than I have. In the past, I would kind of just go to the gym, do my workout, and get out of there. Wouldn't really stretch that much before, wouldn't really stretch that much afterward. I just told myself I didn't have time. This is not a great way of doing things. I really do recommend stretching before and after your weightlifting sessions. It was just not something that I was prioritizing. I felt like I was always pressed for time and that was kind of the thing to go. That's one thing that I haven't been able to just let go now. If I don't stretch after I do a lower body day, it is going to impact my run. I can't just kind of take a risk with getting delayed onset muscle soreness anymore. I need to be more proactive about making sure that I am stretching, not just before and after my workouts, before and after my runs. I also stretch every night. I definitely was getting more sore at the beginning of training for this, despite stretching. My body wasn't yet used to doing the running with the weightlifting, but a month in or so, my body started adjusting, and now I feel like I'm really not sore super often, or at least doesn't really impact either my running or my gym workout. I need to unfold my legs because they're so sore. So strength-wise, I've mentioned that my legs are definitely more muscular now, so I have seen an increase in strength in my legs. I have been able to continually progressively overload on my lower body exercises. My upper body, on the other hand, has absolutely lost strength since I started running. Again, makes sense. I have not been hitting my upper body muscles nearly as much as I was before. I feel like upper body strength was just something that always came very naturally to me. My body builds muscle more quickly in my upper body compared to my legs, and so upper body day was always my favorite. But now, you guys, those upper body workouts are just not hitting the same. I feel very weak on upper body days. It is a struggle to continue to make sure that I am at least maintaining my strength week over week, and I am certainly not progressing. That is one thing that I don't love quite as much, but again, it has been really fun to see those lower body gains since that is not something that I've experienced a lot of before. And then, as I mentioned a minute ago, I do have less energy to put into my gym sessions, and that is because I just have less energy overall. I get fatigued more quickly, more easily. This also very well could have something to do with the exacerbated GI issues that I have now, but I do think that part of it is the running and just expending that much at one time. It leaves me with less energy throughout the day than my weightlifting sessions did. I am ready to go to bed at 8 p.m. I don't go to bed at 8 p.m. because I usually have things that I need to do, but I absolutely feel like I could go to bed at 8 p.m. and
I feel like I just need more sleep, more rest than I did before. That has been one thing that has been a little bit hard, is just feeling overall a little bit more tired. But it is helping me to learn to honor my body and what it needs. And so for that, I am thankful. So now moving on to how running has changed my hunger, my cravings, my nutrition, all of that fun stuff. Overall, I think I'm just more hungry in general. I just find myself getting more hungry more often. I need more food to fill me up, and I honor that. So that is also probably a large part of the reason why I haven't lost any weight, why I may have gained a little bit of weight, is just because I think that my intake definitely has gone up. And another thing that I have noticed is that I am definitely craving carbs more as opposed to fats. And this makes total sense because your body converts carbohydrates to glucose, and that is your body's primary source of energy. It is the most bioavailable source of your body's energy. Fats and protein can also be used for energy, but they're not quite as available and able to be used as quickly. When you're running a lot, you are using a ton of glucose, which means you're using a ton of carbs, which means you need more carbs, which is why, you guessed it, you are going to crave carbs. I have also noticed that I am a lot more impacted when I do undereat. And when I do undereat, it's always unintentional. But in the days after that happening, I notice a pretty big impact on my performance, both in the gym and running. I've had to be very on top of my nutrition. Undereating and underfueling was something that I was able to just kind of get away with before. I could still get myself to go to the gym and honestly perform fairly well, even if I had undereaten in the few days leading up to that. Now with the running added in there, I just simply cannot be undereating. I also have to be making sure that I'm really fueling properly after my runs too. If I wait too long to eat after my runs, or I don't eat quite enough after my runs, I have this really big energy crash and just get really fatigued in the middle of the day, which is not great considering that I do have a job that I need to do. So I've been trying to be pretty on top of that. So mindset wise, I've just had to get comfortable eating more. This is something that's been new for me as someone who has increased the amount that they've eaten before, but has always done it very systematically through tracking macros. I'm not tracking macros right now. I'm just eating intuitively. And so it was a little bit uncomfortable at first to feel like I was just eating more and not in a way that was more structured. But over time, I've gotten more comfortable with it. I've become just more accepting of honoring my body's cravings and what it needs, which is so important. And I feel like it's really grown my relationship with food in a lot of ways that were new and unexpected. I thought that my relationship with food had already come really far. This has kind of added like a whole other layer of healing on top of that, which has been really cool for me. I used to be so scared of honoring my body's cravings, or on days where it was feeling more hungry, I was afraid of eating more. I heard this analogy once and I wanted to share it with you guys because I think it's very true and also just kind of funny. If you had to go to the bathroom, you wouldn't decide that you just don't want to and tell your body that you can't pee. You would go and go take care of it because it's what your body is telling you it needs. It's kind of the same with food. If you are hungry, why are you telling your body, no, it can't have food, and that you're not actually hungry? It's just another biological cue, like going to the bathroom, and your body wouldn't be telling you that it needs that if it didn't actually need it. Why would you not honor that? So when I have a day where I'm kind of getting in my head about maybe how much I've eaten and the fact that I'm still really hungry, I try to remind myself of that my body wouldn't be asking for this food if it didn't need it and if there wasn't a reason. Your body is very smart and it knows what it needs. So in this way, I think that running has just continued to build that trust with myself and my body, that if I do give it what it's asking for, it can do these really amazing things for me, like run these insane distances. Last thing that I want to chat through is just how running has changed my mindset and my self-perception. It's made me realize how stuck in my routines I actually was. Prior to running, I had been going to the gym 5 times a week for probably the past 3 years. I had been following a fairly similar split that entire time, and I had gotten really comfortable in my routine. It also very much became part of my identity. I was the girl who loved the gym, who was really just a gym girl, who didn't do any cardio and was really only focused on strength training. Then starting running, it has really shifted my self-perception in regards to fitness away from being very one-dimensional to being multi-dimensional. Instead of just being a gym girl, I feel like an athlete. My body is athletic and it's really cool. Despite having lost some strength in the gym, I overall feel really strong physically, and I think mentally I feel the strongest that I've been in a really long time. I have been able to train my mind to handle discomfort discomfort and handle discomfort for long periods of time. I've learned the difference between discomfort as a barrier that you need to push through to get to the other side and where you want to go, and discomfort that's actually pain and means you should probably stop and take a break. Pushing through those times of discomfort when I needed to has given me so much confidence in myself and my capabilities. And I've said it before, I think in probably my past 2 running videos, I've said it in some of my running shorts, but I have just been doing things that I never thought I would do. And there is nothing that boosts your self-esteem, that boosts your self-efficacy, that boosts your confidence than by doing things that you never thought in your life you would be doing. I am sitting here today having done those things and it feels amazing. Was I in pain after that 12.5-mile run? Yes, I absolutely was, but I was also so proud of myself. I think that's what makes it so worth it to me, is just proving that I can keep this promise to myself, that I can keep this goal to myself and rise to the challenge and rise to the occasion, even during those times where my mind is telling me I can't and I choose to just go and try and do it anyway, and I do. Those are the moments that I have just really seen the most growth and felt the most gratitude for my body and my mind and what both are capable of. It has just been a really beautiful unfolding of an experience that I wasn't expecting going into this journey. I knew that running was probably going to change my life. Everyone says that it changes their life. I think I just didn't expect it to change in all of these beautiful different ways. I didn't realize that it would lead to this experience of a whole new level of healing of my relationship with my body, with fitness, with food. And it's just brought me so much and so much joy. I just really wanted to share that with you guys. So that is going to be all for the end of the sit down chat. You can probably hear in my voice the past like 20 minutes that I am rather tired, so I very well might be going and taking a nap after I wrap up filming. If you have made it to the end of this video and if you have been watching and following along with my running journey, I just want to thank you so much for sticking with me. It really means the world to me and I've enjoyed so much bringing you guys along in all of this, and I really cannot wait to show you the race day vlog, because when you are watching this it will be 6 days out, which is crazy and so exciting and also kind of terrifying. Thank you so much again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Go be kind to yourself, go be kind to someone else, and I will see you in the next one.